Hey y'all, what's going on? This is Jackie Marie, and I am making a video about the medical supply shortage. It's starting to get real out here in these medical facility streets. So I was actually minding my own business, and I saw an article about the dye shortage. And the dye shortage, like the contrast shortage, is when a person goes to get like a CT scan or anything like that, or if they have other procedures, they'll inject the dye into the body to see where the issue is that the person is having. So, it just makes it easier for them to see on the imaging where the issue is. And so it's like for, CT scans, things like that. They having a hard time getting the supplies, so they can't even do the procedures, or their rationing or their halting and things like that, because they can't get the dye. So you know that was the first thing that caught my eye. Then I asked my mom. I said, because my mom's a nurse, and I was like, Mom, have you noticed any shortages in the hospital? And at first she was like, no, but then she thought about it. She was like, well, yeah, we're having a hard time getting the tubes for like the blood, so like the green tubes, because if you know anything about a medical facility, they use different colored tubes, and the tubes are the same, but the tops are different colors, and they represent a certain collection. So like if the blood goes in the red tube, they're testing for this. If it goes in a blue tube, it goes in this, a green tube. So it's different colors. If you're a phlebotomist or anything like that, you'll know. And so I did a little digging. I was reading an article, and there are a lot of things are that they're having trouble getting. So one of the healthcare logistic firms, so they supply the supplies that you use in the hospital, Owens and Minor. They said 45. They can't get 45% of the items that they need, and it includes hypodermic needles, flush syringes. So that's like the saline flushes that the nurses always have in their pockets. They had like 20 of them in their pockets, and the blood collection tubes, which is like the green tubes that my mom was talking about. Surgical tape, surgical gloves. I heard about that. So like the latex gloves that we use, I heard that the size small, they're having a problem getting that. Um, so like if you got little hands, you got to wear a medium-sized glove or a large glove, and that's not good, because you don't want to be handling specimen or blood or whatever, and your gloves are too big. You understand? So that's not good. Suction containers, well, suction canisters, and that's basically like we had that in ICU when a person is it's mainly with respiratory use. I mean, the nurses use it too, but um, let's say a person is intubated, so they're like kind of like in a coma, I guess how you would describe it. We call it intubated. Well, they can't clean their mouth, you know what I'm saying? So they might have fluids building up in their mouth, so the nurse or the respiratory will go in and suction their mouth and whatever is in there, so they don't choke and stuff like that. And so then and all that fluid go whatever, it goes into a canister. It's like a tube, and it goes into a canister, and it's quite gross, because you think of the stuff in your mouth, you know what I'm saying, and you suction it out, it's gross. So they having a trouble getting that IV solution, dialysis concentration, because with dialysis, what they do is they like basically clean your blood. Basically, they um, get your blood right. Yeah, they get your blood, clean it, and then put it back in your body. Basically, wound care products, and yeah, you need that, because not only with you don't want nobody to have an open wound. Like when we had the wound care nurse come around, you don't want nobody having an open wound, because not only is that's dangerous, because they can get an infection in there. That's bad enough. They get an infection, but it smells too. Like, if you ever smelled somebody who, like, we had a patient, he had an open wound. We pulled him from death. Do you understand? Like, he was in the hospital. He was in ICU for like 5 months. Okay, we pulled him back from death, but we had to change. We had to move him out of the room that he had been in and put him in another room because that ICU room stink so bad. Because yes, you had the wound nurse coming in there, but it like he was there for 5 months, y'all. Okay, when I said that room stink, and like we was like, okay, we're gonna move him to another room, and and this was like literally during season, so it was packed, so it was hard to move because like we stayed getting patients, like new patients, so we could never move him, so it was like a long time, funky room, him in that funky ass room, and finally when we got an empty room long enough, we moved him out of there. And when I tell you, me and I want to say the nurse, I don't even think she was the nurse, but she was a nurse in ICU, but she wasn't his nurse. We went in there and we sprayed because they had the sprays. We got it out the supply. I want to say we got at least 6 little bottles out the supply room and sprayed that room. And then we called housekeeping. It was like, you need to clean everything, like bleach. It's like, just don't bleach in here because it was funky. Like, the curtains, the walls stink. Okay, and because he had that open wound, he had that open wound for a long time. That wound would not heal. That wound would not heal, and it stinks. So yeah, you don't want that. You don't want someone to have open wound. One, because of infection, cause it, they can get infection, die. But two, it stinks. And then also, this company, they're reporting sharp containers. So that's basically just like when they do any procedure, like if a nurse gives you medication or if they draw blood or whatever, they throw the needle in the container. They throw the used needle in the container. So, and a catheter, an adult, and well, we all know what a catheter is. That's when they stick it up your, you know, your wee wee, you hoo hoo, and adult and pediatric nutritional products. So I heard about the pediatric. I knew they was having issues with getting fluids and like the pediatrics, NICU, things like that. Y'all, we can't have that. Okay, like that's not good, y'all. That's not good. And then some more stuff. Let's see. Uh, Medications are in short supply, like lidocaine. Um, Lidocaine is basically a cream that they use it in anesthesia. Okay, so because it numbs, and it's a cream. Butterfly needles. So a butterfly needle, I don't think I had a picture of well, let me rephrase it. I did have a picture of the butterfly needle, but the person had hairy arms. It was just hairy. I was like, that's gross. Y'all should have seen that. But a butterfly needle it's just, uh, you know what a needle is, and then a butterfly is just, it lays against the skin. It's much easier to get blood out. Um, but I want to say they're more expensive, so that's why they don't use them. But y'all, this is not good. It's not good to have um, shortages in these hospitals, and they're being reported all over the country. The shortages are. So hold on just a second. Sorry. So you had a hospital, University of Alabama. They issued alert on, and this is just about the contrast dye. Okay, this is what we talking about. Just the contrast dye for the scans. Um, the University of Alabama at Birmingham. This was May 7th. Um, and then some Washington State medical centers are rationing medical scans because they don't have the dye. And then a hospital in Pennsylvania, St. Luke's Health System, they sent a message to patients regarding the same thing, and this is just regarding the dye. I heard that there a shortage on surgical gowns. So like when they go do surgery, they put the gowns on. They got a shortage of that too. I'm like, what is going on? Now, some of the needles, like some of this can be um, put on the pandemic. So like the needle shortage, that can be put on the pandemic because they wanted to get people vaccinated, right? So they did the mass vaccinations. And then, you got one person being vaccinated 2, 3 times. Do you understand? 4 times. 1, 2, 3, 4 times. And so, once you use a needle, you're done. You can't use it again. So that put a strain on that. But then you also have, um, you know, what's going on in China. China, they, of course, China, they manufacture damn near everything we use, and they are on lockdown because they don't want nobody to have COVID. So they have a zero COVID policy. So they don't want nobody testing positive for COVID, and so they got entire cities and provinces on lockdown. Nobody's working. Nobody's manufacturing anything. And then of course, we got that, and then of course we got ships sitting out in the ocean off the coast of California, and it's just a mess. So I expect that this will become bigger news soon. I just don't think it's out there yet. This is not being talked about as much yet because, like I said, right now everyone's talking about diesel and how we may not be able to get supplies to the stores, and you know last week was the baby formula, so now they're trying to do something about the baby formula. So this will become bigger news. I don't know when, but it will become bigger news. If you work in a hospital or you work in a nursing facility, rehab, clinic, any place like that, and you are being told about shortages, like you're running out of this, you all have to ration that, put it in the comments below, so I can see what else is going on, and what else we need to worry about. And you can also follow me on my blog. It's J. Marie Booklist. That's where I talk about being a unit secretary. I am also this close to 500 subscribers. So if you are watching the video and you are not subscribed, just hit that subscribe button so I can get to that 500. And then I am going to have a big discount for my ebooks. And if you have any comments or questions, put them below, and I'll talk to you later. Bye.